Hey everybody. I feel like it's time for another Q&A. So let's get right into it. I asked you guys to comment some questions because I never know what to talk about on here sometimes. So let's answer some of these. Let's start with an easy one, and it's how are you? I'm great, thanks for asking. I'm doing really well. No complaints. In general, really well. My life is peaceful. That's kind of how I would describe how I'm doing. Everything's just peaceful. Sometimes I'll be like, oh man, my life is kind of boring. But I've come to realize that that's more of peace, not boring. Next, we'll do a lighthearted one, which is, here's one for the Q&A. Would you rather be in a dunk tank or ride an intense roller coaster? Years and years ago, I would have said hands down roller coaster. But I was just talking about this the other day, actually. I feel like now, first of all, I haven't been on a roller coaster in years. But the last couple times I went on a wooden one, it kind of knocked me around a bit. Like it hurt my neck and my shoulders. I guess I'm getting old. I'm not sure. So I used to love wooden roller coasters. And then now the thought of a roller coaster, it kind of scares me a little bit, if I'm being honest. In this moment, like right now, maybe it's because I haven't been on one in a while and I just need to get on it. I'm not scared. I like the sensation of the fall. Like I love all that. I like the adrenaline that gives you, but I'm in my head too much of like, what happens if something goes wrong? You know what I mean? I don't know. And I never used to be like that. So in this moment, I would probably have to say I'd rather do a dunk tank because I've never been in one. So I feel like that would be fun. So the next one is, what's your favorite part about living in LA? Hands down, the weather. Although these last 3 weeks have kind of been a little bit on the gloomier side. It's just taking a long time for that morning weather to burn off. Yeah, the weather. That's it. I think that's my favorite part. That's a pretty easy one because it's just simply the weather. Since your birthday is coming up, what are your plans for your big day? Well, I'm going to be celebrating out of town this year, so I'm looking forward to that. We don't have major plans. I think we're going to go to dinner and just celebrate with family. So that'll be exciting. Deep question, this one says. Would you ever personally get married again if you find the one? You know, that is an interesting one because I feel like right after, like during the divorce process and right around the time that it was finalized and maybe even like several months after, I was like, yeah, I'll get married again. I loved being married. I loved, the idea of marriage. I would be cautious, of course, but I always envisioned myself getting married again one day. If it was, definitely if it was the right one. But now I'm like, I'm not sure I need that piece of paper. I could take it or leave it. If my partner felt really strongly that they really wanted to get married, I would definitely consider it. Before I was married, that's all I ever wanted to do was get married and have kids. It just seemed like that was what I was supposed to do. Now, I think I could be in a happy, healthy relationship without the piece of paper, if that makes sense. So yeah, to answer that, no, I don't have that strong desire to get married again. I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna have to, if I'm ever in that situation, kind of make that decision then, I guess. But if you ask me right now, I don't feel the need. No, which is surprising because I would have thought that I would have be in search for a second marriage. I don't know. The next one is, how is your sister and her kids, and do you see them often? They're doing great. I talk to my sister frequently, and I haven't seen her in a little while. Like, she came out here a couple Christmases ago. I don't think it wasn't last Christmas, but I believe it was the Christmas before. And then we went on a cruise last summer. So that's the last time I saw her. And then I'll see them on vacation soon. But they're doing well. Everything's good with them. But that's a sweet question. I'll let her know that she got a question in here. What did you do for work after Bertaley ended? And do you have a job now outside of these vlogs? I personally haven't worked outside of the house since my days of Blockbuster and when I was pregnant with Caleb. I had a couple jobs before Blockbuster and then Blockbuster the year I graduated and then a couple years after, I think. I started my senior year of high school and then I quit when I was like 7 months pregnant with Caleb, I guess, and I have not worked outside of the home since then. I'm so thankful that I'm still able to basically be a stay-at-home mom, and that YouTube has allowed me to do so. I wanted to just raise my babies. That's what I wanted to do. I don't have a strong desire to work outside of the home. If in the future there comes a point where I do need to get a job outside of the home, I'm open to that. I would do that. But for me, my personal preference is that that's what makes me happy. And I know that's not for everybody, but YouTube has allowed me to continue to do that. So I think that's special, and I feel very blessed to be able to do that. Do you plan on ever going back to Maryland? Oh my goodness. I think about that quite often, actually. I do. I love Maryland. I love the East Coast. If I ever move, which I do consider moving probably every other day, there's really nothing here in California that's besides the weather that that's holding me here. So I do think that there is, I know this isn't the question, but I do think, I don't think I'm going to live in California forever. And I think in the near future, I do think I will move. I've always considered going back to Maryland, but I don't know if that's where I'll ultimately end up. But East Coast, I've considered Texas, going back with my family. But to answer that question, I would love to go back and visit. I just have not gone back since we left, which is kind of crazy. I want to go back and visit the old houses, or not visit them, but drive by. I don't think I'd have the courage to knock, but I would love to do that. Yes. And I would eat some crab cakes and, oh yes, really good memories in Maryland. I'd consider living there again too. That goes back on the job question a little bit. I can work from anywhere, so I'm considering a lot of different places. What career path would you have chosen if you didn't start YouTube? That is a great question too. When I was younger, high school and then my first year of college, I did 2 years of college. I do believe I saw that question about college earlier, so I can answer that with this one. I did go to college for 2 years. Did not finish a bachelor's degree. So when I was in high school, and actually from the time I was little, I either wanted to be a teacher or a veterinarian. I would answer the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? I wanted to be a teacher, I wanted to be a veterinarian, and I wanted to be a mom. And I think I probably would have landed on teacher. That would have been a good fit. This wasn't a question, but someone said, I can't wait to have a home like yours. It's so nice and homey and cozy. And that is so sweet, because I want my house to be cozy. So that's a really huge compliment. I love it. Someone said, can you do a morning or night routine? I don't think I've ever done a night routine, but most of my vlogs are my morning routine. Maybe I'll do a night routine. Day in the life, I think I do a lot of those. Vacation plans, I've talked about that a couple times in past videos. I do have a couple trips planned soon. One is locked and loaded and tickets are bought. I have a place to stay. I'm seeing family. I'm very excited about that. What's your favorite clothing brand? That's a great question too. I don't think I have a favorite place that I always shop, but I like, this shirt's from Target. It's just like a basic tee. So basically wherever I'm shopping, I like Zara and Free People, and I like Loft. And what else do I wear a lot? I used to do the subscription boxes where clothes would get sent to me. The brand really to me doesn't matter. It's whatever they were sending. And then I do a lot of shopping at Nordstrom Rack or a TJ Maxx. I don't really have a favorite brand. Someone said I love unboxings, which, because I was talking about how sometimes I feel like I do too many unboxings. One, because I love watching an unboxing. When one comes up on my TikTok, I am enthralled. I will watch that thing. They could be pulling out objects that I don't even really care about, but I'm in it. I'm glued. What are you pulling out next? It's got my attention. So I'm glad this person enjoyed a good unboxing as well. Okay, I got a couple dating questions when I skimmed through here. So I think someone asked, I've gotten, what do you look for in a guy, both physically and overall, if dating ever happened to you again. And then I think someone said, are you still on the apps? But I don't see that question right now. So let's just do a quick update on my dating life. Am I on the dating apps? I'm still on the dating apps, but I do not get on them very often anymore. It is such a chore. I've never really liked them. I like them even less now. Occasionally I'll get on there, just kind of see, but it's still it's the same thing. It's not for me. I've gone on a couple dates, but really nothing recently. I went out with the same guy a couple times, but that kind of fizzled out, which was fun. He was a nice guy. It was kind of convenient too, because he lived near me, because LA is big, so you could be on one side or the other and it's not great, but he was relatively close, so that made it kind of easy. But we'd kind of fizzled out. Nothing dramatic, and just kind of, I don't know, that one's hard to explain of why it fizzled out. I don't think there was really a reason, but what I loved about that is like it wasn't a first date. I had one, like, I hate first dates. I haven't been on that many of them. Definitely not been on more than 10 first dates. Like, I can count how many first dates I've been on two hands, but I don't like them. So it was nice to at least see the same guy several times. That was kind of nice because it was like, oh, I got that awkward first and second date out of the way. So that was fun. I think that kind of sums up dating. No dates recently. Still, I think I chalk it up, and I've said this before, I'm not lonely. So I don't feel like this strong desire to go out socializing. Does that make sense? Do I worry that when everybody's moved out of the house that I will be a little bit more lonely, and then I might... I'm not really worried, but you know what I'm saying? That's kind of why I get back on the apps now, trying to like prepare myself. I'd rather meet somebody now so that I won't be lonely in the future. But right now, I'm currently not. Does that make sense? My cup is full. What's your favorite vacation that you've ever been on in the past? I've had some good ones. I think I'd have to go with Australia. I think that's a no-brainer, and that's the obvious answer. But I'm going to go with that obvious answer. And then a lot of people commented to talk about Caleb again, so that this ties into that perfectly. It was just, there was this moment that we had of him just telling the most ridiculous, most hilarious story. I don't even know what the story was about, but I just remember he was laughing so hard. We were all dying of laughter. He was on a roll in that car ride. That's one of my favorite memories of not even remembering what he was really saying, but just the fact of how he was so funny. So funny. I mean, and then obviously the whole vacation of being in Australia, and we celebrated a birthday there, and our luggage was lost, or our luggage was delayed, not lost. It did eventually arrive there. This is also interesting too. Back then, I didn't really love sushi, but that's all Caleb wanted to eat there. And I was never into sushi. And this is an irrelevant story kind of. Now I like sushi. I don't know. Those are the things I think about when I think of Australia. I think of sushi, and I think of our luggage being delayed and having to go shop. That's the first time I shopped at Zara too. I bought some clothes to get us through, and then Paige was with us, and we got to go to the zoo. And what was that zoo called? It was something with a T, right? The Sydney Zoo. There's a picture that I remember that Caleb took, like a selfie of him at the zoo. And that was right before he passed away. And he had just gotten home, right? Do I have my timeline correct? He had just gotten home from camp. And that's when we were on our way somewhere when he got home from Cooperstown. And I believe it was the trip that we went to Australia on, right? Or were we going somewhere else? Is my timeline completely mixed up? I'm not sure. Anyway, to answer that question, yes, so Australia would be my favorite vacation. And then some recent ones to Paris. Those were good too. Oh, I never answered this one, and somebody else asked. It was tying in with the dating one. What's some characteristics you look for in a man? I just want a nice one. An honest, kind, fun guy. I think also what I've learned is I'm not just giving my trust away freely and blindly anymore. Trust is earned. So no, I'm not just going to automatically blindly trust you. I'm also not going to be like, if you haven't given me a reason, I'm not going to be like accusing you of all of that. Does that make sense? Just be honest. I want somebody funny. That's it. I think I look for truth and humor. What are some books you recommend? I did get a Kindle recently, and I've been enjoying it. I'm on my second book on the Kindle. So I would definitely recommend the one that I read and the one I'm currently reading. The Last Letter, really good. Stay tuned for the ending. And then the one I'm currently reading is really good. I'm a little over halfway, and it's called The Silent Patient. I recommend both of those. And then also The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That might be all of them. I'm just going to skim through. Seeing you makes my day every day. You're my second mommy, Katie. I love you. I love that. We talked about Caleb. I said in the past, I love talking about him. His birthday's coming up next month. My birthday's coming up next month. Piper's birthday is coming up this month. Piper's my oldest dog, and she is a boxer, and she will be 11. Oh, I do believe it wasn't on here, but I think there was a question on one of my Instagram comments. How old are the dogs? I just said Piper was 11. Winnie, will be 11. Winnie will be 10 in October, and Gigi will be 9 in August. I believe I got all of the ones on here. I do enjoy a good Q&A. Thanks for all the questions, and thanks for watching, and I love you, and I'll see you next time. Mwah. I missed you guys already.